The Mishnah Maseches Rosh Hashanah asks a fundamental question based on an episode which takes place in this week's Parsha, Parshas Chukas. The Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, complain to Hashem about the man. Imagine, here Hashem is blessing them with man, with food from heaven every single day. And yet the Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, complained. Hashem becomes very upset. And as a result, he sends these snakes that bite the people, and anyone who is bitten by a snake, that person becomes ill, and eventually that person would meet their end. So the Torah tells us that Hashem says to Moshe, Moshe, this is how people are going to be cured. Take a copper snake, meaning a snake that is made of copper, and put it on some kind of a stick and hold it up high. And anyone who is bitten by a live snake and is ill will look at that copper snake and they'll become healed. So the Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah asks a question and says, V'chi nachash memis v'nachash mechaye. What's going on here? What is it? It sounds almost crazy that a person should look up at a copper snake and then they're going to be healed. So the Mishnah says, no, what is this all about? That a person should have to look up at that copper snake, and since they're looking up, their eyes are raised toward heaven, toward Shamayim. They're looking up to Hashem, and they realize that Hashem will be the one to heal them. So by virtue of looking up at that snake, they're going to be looking in the direction of the heavens, and that way they will end up being healed from the illness that has resulted from the snake bite. So the Sfas Emes asks an obvious question. He says, why then do we need the copper snake? Why didn't Hashem simply say to Moshe, tell everyone to look up to Shamayim, to look up to heaven? And if you look up in the clouds, and then anyone who was bitten by a snake would look up to the clouds, daven to Hashem to be healed, and they'll become healed. Why was it that Hashem said to Moshe, make a copper snake and hold that copper snake up, and the people who are bitten, let them look at that copper snake? Why is that? How does it make any sense? So he explains and answers as follows. The Ramban Nachmanides explains to us that the derech, the way that Hashem does things, is supernatural, of course. Naturally, for example, when it came to the Jewish people, when they didn't have water to drink, because the water after they came out of Mitzrayim was bitter, so Hashem said, take something bitter and throw the bitter into the bitter water and it'll become sweet. People will be able to drink. So the Ramban says the nature of Hashem is to show things opposite of what they would normally understand. And that shows people that Hashem is present in the world, and that Hashem's presence is not something which is simply lofty up in the heavens, which we have no connection with. No, but that Hashem's presence is here, is with us, and could actually be in even the most simple of things, including a copper snake. So that when a person would look at that copper snake, they would realize, wait a second, a copper snake is going to heal me? That doesn't make any sense. Rather, Hashem must have placed the power in the teva, in the nature, so that if I look up at that snake, if I recognize Hashem by virtue of looking up, then Hashem will heal me from the injury that I sustained and the illness that has resulted from being bitten by the snake. It's easy for a person to say, look up to Hashem, look up to the sky, and then you'll be healed. But Hashem recognizes and realizes that we are people who are tied in this world. We need to touch, we need to feel, we need to be able to relate on a practical level to something that we can see and understand. And here, the lesson HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying is that in this case, the people were able to relate to this copper snake because it seemed to be like the snake that bit them. And naturally, what a person would do is to stay away from the snake. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says precisely that which you would normally stay away from. No. That is seeing Hashem in nature. That's seeing Hashem's presence in this world, because the fact of what would naturally happen, that a snake that bit would do more damage. Hashem says quite the opposite. It's not the snake that acts on its own,
but rather it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who is bringing the refuah. May we be zoche, may we merit that we look at life and recognize and see Hashem in our lives on a practical level. We can't see Hashem. We can't see Hashem's presence if we're not looking for Him in all of the various areas of our life where we need His help and His assistance. Wishing everyone a good Shabbos.